State legislature is involving itself in Omaha's governmental business. A bill in the unicameral would require the city council to change from 7 council members to 9. Now, whether that's necessary, of course, is sparking some disagreement. Our Bella Caracta brings us the new details.
I introduced LB21 not to change the makeup of the city council, but to make sure that there's proportionate representation.
Currently, each city council member in Omaha represents about 70,000 people. State Senator Justin Wayne believes that's too many.
The average city council size nearly double many of our legislative districts. The purpose of this is by adding 2 seats would hopefully reduce this to around 45 to 55,000, making it more likelihood that they can know their city council person and have contact with their city council person.
This is his 3rd time introducing a bill to expand Omaha's city council. He believes that this is the right session to pass it.
To do it, it allows them to go through the process of designing and going through that process of designing their legislative or city council districts, getting feedback from the public, and be ready before the 2025 elections.
But Wayne doesn't have the majority of the city council on his side. 4 members signed a letter in opposition: Brinker Harding, Amy Melton, Danny Begley, and Don Rowe.
LB21 is really a solution in search of a problem.
They say in part it would harm the neighborhood community consensus and that it's premature.
I really don't see a need, or do I hear a calling to expand the body.
City Council President Pete Festerson was one of the 3 who did not sign the letter in opposition.
I've always been open to the idea. I think as the city grows, and we all represent about 70,000 constituents now, that's probably something we should consider.
Cities with a similar population to Omaha, Colorado Springs, and Kansas City have 9 and 13 city council members respectively. That means that Colorado city council members are responsible for about 54,000 people each. Kansas City council members represent 39,000 people apiece. That compares to Omaha's 70,000 people per city council member. On your side, Bella Caracta, 6 News.
Bella, thank you very much. LB21 is in the Urban Affairs Committee and open for public comment online.